So welcome everyone to our 2024 annual membership meeting. Are you seeing the slide presentation at this point?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And welcome, John. You're a new member. I think this is your first meeting.
Yeah, I had to join.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So we've really had a crazy first year. We have a lot to share with you this evening. We're going to have a short slide presentation, which is about, I don't know, 15 or 16 slides. After the slide presentation, we will have questions and answers. And after the questions and answers, we'll have a video that kind of recaps our first year as a chapter. So Sue, would you like to talk about the election results?
Sure. As required by our bylaws, we have to have an annual meeting and election. And our original bylaws had terms for the directors, officers of 1 year. In discussing it, we decided we wanted to make a change to that, and I'll get back to that in a minute. But this year, we decided on just presenting a slate of candidates for the board of directors. Marlene as president, Bill as vice president, Emily as treasurer, and myself as secretary, and Lynn as membership chair. And they voted us in. 100% voted for us to keep on going a year for another year. Now, next year, at our annual meeting, which will be in November again, we have a slight change in term limits. Rather than having the possibility of the entire board of directors changing over at one time, we changed the term limits to 2 years with the terms staggered in groups, so that only a couple of the board members will be up for re-election or election next year, and then the other ones will be up for election the following year. And all but one person voted yes on that. We had 18 responses. So now my job as secretary is to validate all of this and send it in to Wild Ones National, which I'll do after tonight's meeting. And we will be good to go until October or November of 2025. So thank you all who voted. We appreciate your confidence. I'm done.
Thank you, Sue. And I wanted to thank Bill and Sue and Lynn and Emily. They joined with me as the founders for relaunching, and they willingly accepted the board positions when I asked them. And I appreciate them sticking through everything this first year because it was a little bit crazy. And next year, the first group that will be voted on will be the secretary, the treasurer, and the vice president. Lynn and I will stay on for the 2-year terms, and then the president and membership chair will be up for anyone who might like to volunteer in 2026. So that's how the rotation will happen. All right, our financial update. Being a new chapter, we've had limited financial activity, but we did want to report on it. Our total deposits for the year has been a combination of membership dues, which totaled $1,250.50. Portion of everybody's membership dues that go to national come back to the chapter on a quarterly basis for us to have money to provide our programs. We've also had donations of $224.80. And we've had expenses totaling $699.63. And that included things like tabling materials and signage. We made it a point to order a nice display board, order tablecloths, a nice branded table runner for the table, and a few other things. We've tried to keep expenses to a minimum, but we did want to make a good presentation when we're out in public representing our chapter and representing Wild Ones. And our current balance is $770.67. And over to Lynn for the membership update.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lynn Wheeler, the membership chair. And our Wild Ones Chesapeake Bay chapter, it started in January of 23 and relaunched in October of 2023. At that time, we had 18 members. We now have up to 70 members. So we have more than tripled. We also designate separately if it's a business member, and the business members so far are Bonaterra, Eco Bay, and Earth Liaison, and two nonprofits, Chesapeake Bay, Chesapeake Natives, and Forest Tech. For first year, we're happy, and we look forward to trying to expand even more. Back to you, Marlene. Oh, yes, on the next slide too.
I have a
Uh,
question about the previous slide. Can you go
Okay.
back to that one? So the map that shows all the orange and white and pink, is that what is that? Is it showing
It's based
where?
on the number of members per that county. So the darker the county is, the more members are present at that area. Like say, if you look at La Plata is a dark orange, it's because
Right.
there's more members there.
What about the white ones? Are those people on the Eastern Shore and down
No.
on the Northern Neck part of us too?
No, I'll just
ahead.
elaborate if you don't mind. So the
Sure.
color coding is where we have members in a particular zip code.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when we go out to the website and look at our membership, we can look at it by zip code, and you can
Mhm.
see if it's the dark orange, it's 6 or more. And I believe if it's white, there are no members in the zip code. So it's
Are we
just
supposed to recruit members from those white areas?
no,
Is
no,
Nash-
not necessarily. There's a
Okay.
new seedling chapter over on the Eastern Shore now,
Good,
Wild Ones
okay.
Delmarva. It
Mhm.
could be because they could be doing this within, my guess is going to be a certain mile radius of the home
Right.
address.
They don't know
my-
that you have to go to the Bay Bridge or,
Right, right.
I see. Mhm.
And even if somebody was in it was closer to another chapter, individuals are able to join whichever chapter they prefer.
I see.
So someone in Baltimore, even though there's the Greater Baltimore, they could choose to join our chapter. So there are no like restrictions on that. But this is,
Interesting.
from our perspective, where the bulk of our membership is. And I guess that must be the La Plata zip code. That's the dark
Mhm.
orange. And we have a heavy concentration over in Calvert County where the seedling chapter originally started last January. That's the
Mhm.
area of Scientist Cliffs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There was a very active community there. They just, for whatever reason, decided not to move forward. But yeah, that's a great question though, asking about the map.
Okay. Thank
Um,
you.
You're
Can I
welcome.
interrupt? John, do you have a question? Your hand's raised.
Yes. Should I wait until the end to ask about finances, or should I just ask now?
You can ask now.
Okay. So you had the numbers there for the current balance, and I was wondering, is that in a money market or how is that held?
That is currently held in a checking account.
Okay. Is there interest being earned on it or no?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think we went with a checking account based on the recommendation of Wild Ones National.
Okay.
But, we could always check and see if there are other options. We bank with West Banco. Oh, and we went with West Banco because they have a free checking account for nonprofits.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Branches are centralized to where we go.
and there are
Yeah,
branches, yeah, there are branches convenient to both myself and Emily, based on Wild Ones National's rules, the secretary and president both have to be on the account.
The
Okay.
treasurer and and president.
Treasurer,
Oh, I'm sorry, what did I say?
secretary.
Secretary.
Sorry, treasurer. Fire
Um,
me.
I'm also on the board of the Potomac Rose Society, and they've got their checking. It's a money market, so it's earning 4%. So it's not a ton of money, but if this balance grows, 4% is real money.
Right, and do you know where they have theirs?
I don't remember if it's Truist or I don't remember which bank.
Yeah, well, maybe if
It's
you
one
could,
of the bigger ones.
yeah, if you could let us know, by all means, maybe after the first of the year. You know, we kind of struggled because as soon as we were chartered, we needed to make a decision so that Wild Ones National could transfer the money to us.
Yeah. Okay.
So we pretty much looked around for which local banks had free nonprofit accounts. And I
Okay.
think it came down to two, and we chose West Banco based on recommendations and their locations.
Well, if you're happy with them, then stay with them. That's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. But thank you for the input. I would be interested to know though about the money market and the other banks.
Yeah, I'll look into it and send you an email.
Okay, thanks, John.
Sure.
Marlene, can I ask a question about financial stuff?
Sure,
So is there any kind of guidance from the national office about, like what they recommend to have in the account, or like a ratio or anything? I'm just wondering if there's any sort of guidance that they provide to know that we're in a comfortable position. Do you get what I'm asking?
well, so Wild Ones National there's full transparency between us and Wild Ones National. All of our accounting goes into a shared folder that Wild Ones National set up. So they see all of our deposits and expenses. And all of our reporting, we do quarterly reporting to them. So I'm sure if there were any issues, they would get back with us. There's probably no guidelines as to, what the balance should be or anything like that, only because the chapter sizes are so different. You could have chapters with as few as 10 members if someone decides not to grow their chapter. Or you have ones with hundreds of members. So I'm not sure what sort of guidance they could give as far as these numbers.
Okay, but you'll let us know if we need to do any sort of fundraising to,
Oh, well, we could always do fundraising. And I don't want to get into all the specifics of it, but we do have a means of direct deposit through PayPal for donations, and that's on our website. And I'll let Lynn talk about a couple other things. I think we were just about to maybe her second slide. But yeah, we can do fundraising. That's not an issue.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
good segue to the next
Yep.
slide, where of course that we're getting to the season of giving. So please, if you don't know what to give that special friend or a coworker who loves native plants, please consider a gift membership. We would greatly appreciate it, especially being a young new chapter. We need to grow and want to grow. And ho ho ho.
And if you were to scan the QR code on this slide with your phone, it would take you to the gift membership page. So that's why we put the QR codes on some of the slides when we think it's convenient for you to check it out on your phone. Lynn, did you want to mention anything about the other idea coming up, or you want to hold on that?
Well, what Marlene's referring to is that we're probably going to go ahead and launch soon and ask for Giving Tuesday. So we're kind of working on putting that little piece together. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on that. I've been involved with Southern Maryland Audubon for 25 years, and that's something that we did start doing probably 4 or 5 years ago. And, you know, it's just another means for funds. So I think we're probably going to go ahead and do that. Anything else, Marlene?
Nope, I think that was it. Thanks, Lynn.
And
Okay.
that would be tax deductible, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The publicity for that fundraising, is that going to be via email or like a Facebook ad, or how is that message getting out?
Facebook, it will be posted on Facebook. Marlene, I don't think we've gotten made that decision exactly.
I think we would send an email to all of our members, and I think we also have a very large non-member list when we go out to outreach events. We have a sign-up sheet on our tables asking people if they'd like to get on our email list for things like our future events. That's pretty much what we use it for. We share with them future events and invite them to the meetings too. But I think we could probably use that list for the Day of Giving also.
Okay.
Mhm.
Good questions.
Will you make sure
And
to include these statistics in any email that you send?
sure, so we could use this on, in fact, that's a good thing to mention too, because we did receive I did see one of the other chapters have started their Day of Giving. They start early and they do put their accomplishments. And that's the sort of thing that I think Lynn is working on pulling together for our campaign for the Day of Giving. But I wanted to let everybody know what we have done. And these statistics are just related to the actual things related to native plants, getting more native plants distributed. So believe it or not, we've given away 6,500 plus native seedlings. That's through donations from Bonaterra and Chesapeake Natives. We've helped support 9,000 plus square feet of native habitat in 5 gardens. We have grown over 2,000 plus native plants from seed and are distributing those through the Anne Arundel County Repollinate program. We rescued and rehomed over 100 native trees this year, and we have distributed 35 species of native seeds to 4 seed libraries. So I think for our first year, that's a very impressive list of what we've done just in regards to native habitat and plants. The word cloud shows all the other things. We've done invasive removals. We do garden chats on a regular basis with presentations. We're growing our Facebook followers and our Instagram followers.
Recording in progress.
We've done field trips. I don't know why we're suddenly getting that echo. Did someone just come in?
I
Anyway,
think John did.
anyway, so that's kind of our accomplishments. And because we've done so much and we have the luxury of having a videographer on our team, we're going to show you our year in review in a video when we're finished with this slide presentation.
Can Marlene?
Some
Oh, I'm sorry, Bill.
of those went to our projects as well.
Oh, yeah. So the 2,000 plus native plants grown from seed not only were distributed through the Repollinate Anne Arundel project, but they've also gone into some of our local gardens and to our plant swaps. So, you know.
Can you put some details? I don't even know if we collect this information about the population served, like how many students did we reach? And I don't know, can we claim the people that nurture natives that have reached as part of our demographic? And you know, how many cities have you gone in? Because a great thing about this is you're hitting so many locations in the 5 counties. So I think you should celebrate that fact when we start doing any kind of fundraising. Is you're bringing a lot of people together. You work your ass off to bring so many people together, and it'd be nice if there's any way to quantify that. I know sometimes I've seen you counting number of people at events, but I certainly never have. But I'm hoping that
Yeah.
you have.
Yes. So the struggle with this is real, and we
Yeah.
need to work on it, and that'll be one of my goals for the first of the year. Wild Ones National has a database for the activities that we sponsor, like our garden chats, our garden visits, all the things that we sponsor and we hold. They have a database where we put in that kind of information. They don't capture it down to like the age, like the youth versus, other demographics. For the things that we do outreach where we table at someone else's event, they do not want that stuff put on their calendar because it would get too bogged down because there's so many chapters and so many things would get on that calendar and it would just be overwhelming. So what I'm trying to do for the end of the year for this year is we have the ability to export that information to a spreadsheet once it's entered in their system. I am trying to add to that all the events that we didn't put on that calendar because we can't. So I'm trying to capture all that data for all the other events too, so we have a better total.
Yeah, Robin's right. That's
Yeah.
very important data that I've never,
Yeah,
it's done good.
it is important. It is very important.
Especially if we ever want to apply for any kind of grants or anything, they're going to want to know,
Yeah.
what are we doing who's our population and what are we doing to help them? And,
Yep.
how are we finding them?
Good feedback. And that is something that as we've gotten toward the end of the year and we're looking back at everything we've done, trying to figure out how we do capture all that.
Okay. Yeah, let me know if you want help.
Yeah, thank you very much, Robin. I'm making notes. Okay, next slide.
So one of the things that I don't know whether the members know or not, one of the big things that we do in January is called the State of the Chapter Reports, the SACRA, as we call it. And a lot of that information will be captured when we have that completed, which is due to National by the 31st of January, I think. And so that's the big thing that we start come January 1st.
Yeah, and an aside to that is Wild Ones rolls all of that information up from all the chapters into their annual reporting. And I've asked them, since they have an annual report where they've rolled everything up, couldn't they do that same thing per chapter? And my first answer I've gotten from them is no. Basically that, they just, I guess, probably don't have the bandwidth to do that. But the information is there on the in the calendar where we can export all that data and do our own crunching. And I don't recall if once we submit the state of the chapter, if those reports are printable to us, that we could then massage them and put them in some sort of report to the members. But maybe we'll investigate that this year. And if we have all the data in raw form, if there's somebody who likes to look at data and make it presentable to others, maybe we could look at enlisting some help to do that. First, we have to see what kind of data we can export from what we're putting in. And John, you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering if there's any discussion about teaming up with the Chesapeake Bay Trust, to the earlier point about grant funding.
So we haven't looked at doing any grants yet. We have not had any projects yet that have made us think, we need to go in that direction. Now, we have been approached from someone in the community who has received a grant to help them on their project. That is a project going on with the Neighborhood Creative Arts Center, which may be a new art and native garden project at the College of Southern Maryland in La Plata. That's something in the works that we're in discussions with. But we have not had anything yet to this point. No members have brought anything to us regarding a project where we might want to look for grants. Now, we do have some members who have worked on projects who may have received grants for their projects, but from the chapter's perspective, we have not entertained any grants yet at this point.
Okay.
Are you interested in grant writing, John?
I've never done it before. I know it's an incredibly valuable skill, also incredibly time consuming. So
Yeah.
I've been to enough volunteer organizations where I know it's like you bring up an idea, it's yours, go for it, you know?
Exactly.
That's what you're thinking.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to think of what the grant was, and Amy, help me out here because Amy I know there's a grant in St. Mary's County that they got a 99% score on from whichever organization they were going through. Amy, do you recall what I'm talking about?
That was for the murals, the art pieces at the Leonardtown Library through the State Arts Council.
Oh.
And then you all helped at the animal shelter, and Becky Wolf through the St. Mary's County Garden Club got an award of $800 from Federated Garden Clubs of Maryland. And then I applied for there's a small award for public gardens through the State Garden Club as well. If we get the top prize, we'll get $150. But it seems like what I know of what you've done, you've partnered with other organizations that have been able to get grants. So then you haven't had to, but we can keep our ears open.
Right, and we don't really have a space yet where we are looking to put in a garden where we'd be like starting from scratch or assisting with a garden where they need a lot of help, where we might be looking toward grants. But yeah, I think when the opportunity presents itself, we'll be ready to look into it.
Doesn't Wild Ones National have some grants? They have the ones for education.
They have the seeds for education, and we have had 2 chapter members apply and win those. That was Nurture Natives and Pam Brumley. So yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
and then I heard that the tech center at Leonardtown High School they're talking about the environmental engineering classes, talking about putting in a native garden. So I haven't talked to the teacher, but if and when I do, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
If the Wild Ones could help.
Yeah, well, Dorothy Birch.
Oh yeah.
Who is their horticulture resource management instructor.
Yes.
She is a member, and we do go down and work with her. In fact, we work with them this Monday. They cleaned like 35 to 40 bags of seeds for us.
Wow.
For our upcoming events. So
they're so efficient.
Yeah, they're a good group. So I'll check with Dorothy too and see what she's doing down there for grants.
Marlene,
okay, you're already on it.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have access to so many free plants that also think in terms of grants, like at Leonardtown Library for artwork, or like the butterfly wings at the Nature Center.
Yeah,
those were part of the CBT grant. Signage, benches, anything that would help connect plants to insects and birds. It doesn't have to just be for plants. So as you're going through all the gardens that you work on, if you want to do grants for artwork, CBT can do stuff like that. And there are other organizations that'll do small grants too. And it sounds like National also might. So anyway, something to keep in mind if you're thinking along those lines.
Yep. Lots of great ideas. Thank you. Okay, what's that? Okay, so now we're back to Lynn.
All right. I thought it would be of interest to everyone to get an update regarding the two bills that the state of Maryland has been working on that apply to native plants. The Maryland Native Plant Program, House Bill 950, State Bill 836, which passed in May of 2023, and the Biodiversity and Agricultural Protection Act, or the Invasive Plant Bill, which passed in May of this year. Both of these bills are in the process of implementation. So I'm just going to touch briefly on these two bills, and wanted to thank that Marlene had gotten a hold of a lot of nice little information for us from Kirsten Hoffman with the Maryland Native Plant Coalition. She's also with the Maryland Native Plant Society. But the committee representatives who have helped, actually, if we can go to the next slide, for the Maryland Native Plants Program. The committee representatives who have helped with the implementation consist of members from the University of Maryland Extension, Department of Agriculture, Department of Natural Resources, Maryland Native Plant Society, Maryland Department of Forestry, native plant nursery owners and plant retailers. And the main thing I want to share for now is to check out the link that is shown there under that first section of commercial native plant list. It is a comprehensive and fabulous tool to assist all native plant gardeners and enthusiasts. They've done a really good job with that list. I was very pleased with looking at it. And then they're also working on a voluntary certification program for retailers and growers, and have created and filled a University of Maryland Extension Native Plant Specialist, Lisa Cudor. We look forward to sharing more detailed information about this program soon. We're gonna get maybe do a special garden chat just dedicated to this Maryland Native Plants Program. Go ahead to the next slide. And we also have the implementation is beginning on the invasive plant bill. This bill actually was an update of a law that was passed back in 2011. And the new law provides a better tool for assessing established invasives based on the NatureServe protocol, as well as provisions for assessment teams to be provided to control and or eradicate invasive species. So again,
HB at the top.
we'll keep you posted as we are deeply rooted in following the program of, I had to do that, of both these bills. And I know I was interested in what was going on with them. And I believe most of us in the native plant world would like to be up to date on this. So hopefully when they're ready to actually give us more update on a lot of this implementation, we'll schedule that garden chat and share it with everyone. That's it for that.
So just an update. I have spoken with Kirsten and asked that Kirsten and Judy Fulton give us a talk in either February or April. And they're looking at the third Tuesday of the month. So if you have specific questions or a specific area of interest in either bill, please let me know, because they are willing to tailor the presentation to what our group is interested in. They apparently have many presentations that they've given, and they tailor them. They'll do it for as long or short a time frame as we want. I requested maybe a 45-minute to an hour presentation followed by a Q&A. So hopefully we'll hear back from them on that. But by all means, please send us your questions or your areas of interest so I can get back to them.
Hi, you all. This is Michelle. I didn't see where I could raise my hand, but I just wanted to give you some input. Probably back in March, I contacted the soil conservation office that was in Prince Frederick. I have about 7.5 acres, and 6.5 of it is wooded. And I have a lot of invasive species, and I've been clearing it, but it's really backbreaking. So I wanted to know if the state would help me, financially to clear it. And sure enough, they will. So I had to get an agricultural number, and I had to fill out a lot of forms and apply, but my application is being processed, and they are going to pay me to clear invasives, plant natives. I also signed up to do like wildlife structures, so wood piles or brush piles. If I put up a owl box or anything like that, it counts. And then I can do select tree management. So if I see like an oak tree sapling, then I can clear out other trees or branches that will allow light to get into the forest so that oak tree will grow. So I'm not sure if it has anything to do with this invasive species bill, but I was pleasantly surprised that I could get some financial assistance to help, me clear this of invasives and, plant natives.
That's interesting, Michelle. I wasn't aware that Soil Conservation District did that. I've always been involved with the Charles Soil Conservation District. I'm gonna double check, see if they do that too. Of course, so many times when we have land and we want to address all this invasive plants, it's not so much a monetary as it is as a labor. It's tough to deal with all this and to handle it. So
Right.
good for you.
Yeah. I think to put, structures up for wildlife, and I have Japanese knotwood along a river that runs through the back of the property, and I am, and on banks, and I am probably going to have to use some sort of chemical to eradicate that. And just the big thing was keeping trees. I really don't want to cut down trees at all. And that is part of the program, but I didn't sign up for that at all. But trying to grow more trees that are beneficial to wildlife that would draw, mostly oak trees. So I had planted a Y oak before I got into the program, and that was, pretty expensive. So I was surprised because I thought I had to have hundreds of acres to do something. And I had expressed that I wanted to make this piece of property a native forest. And I was surprised that they said, we want individuals to start doing this too. I think you have to have over so much land, over an acre or whatever. And I do think they brought in other, like the Farm Bureau and other government agencies were part of this process. So I should be able to start doing it in 2025, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll keep you guys posted.
Michelle,
is it
can
the
you tell
state-
us who,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I think that you mentioned that you were referred from the Calvert County Soil Conservation District to the state. Can you tell us who you contacted at the state?
I would love to be able to, but all my paperwork is downstairs. I really I wasn't even going to talk about this, but when I saw that invasive plant bill, I feel like I've heard about it before in our discussions.
Mm-hmm.
But I can definitely, maybe on our any call, I will get the information. I know I've been working with a forestry person, and he's come and looked at the property and really cataloged the percentage of what types of trees that I have and what types of understory. I have a lot of pawpaw trees and spice bush. And I know I had to get a farm number for it. So, it's kind of under the agricultural division as well, because it's considered like a farm almost. So it's been a process, but this man, his name's Chase, and I think he did work in Charles County at one point. He's really helped me. I mean, he wrote the application out, so it's been a really positive experience so far.
Michelle, would you be able to send me the information once you have access to it and I can share it with the membership through email?
Sure. Yeah.
That would be great. That way
Okay.
we can make sure that our members get it, and if it's appropriate, we could maybe put it on Facebook, or we could even maybe create a blog on our website if you would like to write about your experience.
Oh,
I'm always happy
sure.
to put things on our website, on our blog, so that's
Yeah.
great.
So yeah, one of the things it pays for, and I've already started, is I'm trying to propagate ferns with spores. So this was my first attempt at it just this year. So yeah, I'm trying to document everything that I'm doing, and pulling invasives by hand is quite labor intensive. And I, have had to buy tools to help me. So I've been taking before and after pictures, and one of the things they
That's
asked me
cool.
was, yeah, could you do an acre a year? And that's a lot, when you're doing it by hand. So I said no, probably half an acre, but I definitely would be interested in sharing, whatever I can about this.
Yeah, maybe we could have a work day at your property. Maybe we can all come dressed to help you pull some invasives one day.
That would be
I'm up
fun.
for that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so I'm going to help you guys too, because I think as I'm creating, one of the other things I'm doing is creating a little micro meadow.
Oh, nice.
And I have a lot of extra plants and things that I've divided, and I'm getting into seeds and stuff. And I thought I would start doing a farmer's market, and maybe I could give wild ones, like 20% of the profits or whatever, because I'm doing all natives now. So I don't know, I've
Well,
got a lot of
nice.
stuff going, but yeah, so I'll definitely send you the information that I have.
Yeah. And let us know how we as a chapter can help you, if you can think of anything we can do for you.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And that's one of the reasons we like to have these chats, just to get out there and hear what everybody's doing and see how we can help one another.
Right.
All right. Next slide. Let's see what we're up to. Maddie, are you still on with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hi, Maddie. Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey.
So I invited Maddie to speak on a few things that she's got going on. Maddie's one of our members here in Charles County, and I know she's very interested in natural habitats, so I'm going to let her speak for a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. So, I'm new to the county. I've only been here 11 months. It'll be 12 months a year in December. So what I lack in experience, I make up for in enthusiasm, and I've kind of gone head in diving into stuff. And I work at CSM at the La Plata campus in the library, and recently one of the biology professors approached the library and said, "Hey, what do you think about starting a seed library?" And I essentially self-nominated myself to take that under and just coordinate it and get it going. So I've been working on this for the past 2 weeks, I'd say. And we've been making connections. Obviously, I've been talking extensively with Marlene to get all of this going. And so we're kind of starting to get to the point where we figured out the logistics and we want to get the word out to everyone. So here I am. Regrettably, I haven't been, or regretfully, I haven't been to a Wild Ones event at all this year, other than helping with the cleanup at CSM. However, hopefully I can get into some more stuff where we can do some collaboration. So the library that we're going to go for is looking for donations for native plants, of course, fruits and vegetables, and then flowers, because I know that's something that people are going to want no matter what, if they're native or not. But obviously, we're going to try to steer them towards natives. And we're hoping to launch on March 1st. That way, it gives us some time in the winter. But we can also have a little bit of like a seasonal on-off rotation to match up with the St. Mary's Public Library that has been doing theirs already. So we're gonna give that schedule a try, see how it goes, and then I've already obviously reached out to Wild Ones, but I've also reached out to the Charles County Master Gardeners and the La Plata Farmers Market folks and everybody that's kind of in the area that I thought might be interested. Bonaterra. I still have to get to Nurture Natives. They're on my list though. But we're asking for like donations, anyone to come in. CSM has a Students for Environmental Sustainability Club called the Eco Hawks that have been helping make little seed packets out of envelopes that we've just had tons of. CSM rebranded their logo, and so now all of the old envelopes are useless to them. So we have like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, but they're going to be very useful to us. So that's great, giving them a second life. But yeah, we'll hopefully do some workshops. We'll be giving away all these seeds. We already have a ton, and you guys have donated some to us. But if you're interested in donating seeds from your personal garden, you can give me a call at the library number, which is there, or preferably you can send me an email, and I can get you set up with like our hours and what we're looking for and all of that. So we definitely appreciate donations, but also just word of mouth. If there's someone you know in Charles County that would like to use it and or help out or donate, please let them know about us. Yeah. So that's part one of why I'm here. That's my professional, my professional responsibility. And then if you could go to the next slide, this is my personal on the side responsibility, which actually there's another, I won't shout them out, but there's another Strong Towns Charles County member in our chat with us right now. Anyways, so Strong Towns Charles County is we have a Strong Towns national organization, so it's just a local one. Kenny just exposed something with the celebration. But yeah, so we're a local group just for the Charles County region of residents, and it's more of an urban planning advocacy or urban development advocacy group, but we're really trying to make adjustments to our pattern of development to allow for healthier, safer, more livable towns, places, things that are not so car dependent, less air pollution, all of that good stuff. So part of that is to get rid of giant expansive lawns that are completely dead to pollinators and replace them with very meaningful native plant lawns. So we submitted a legislative proposal this past spring to make some adjustments to the county code because it's going to be rewritten soon. So we had three main points. The first one was to require 75% natives in our residential and commercial development. So, you know, like the parking lot, little islands, hell strips, all of that kind of stuff that you see that's just grass that's completely useless. I'm like, we need to put more like actual plants in there. So that's one thing. We want to require a lot of that, roadway medians, all of that stuff. The second one is to make a little bit clearer, more usable for anybody, not just developers, to go in the county code and see what is a native, what is invasive, if there's any, and all of that. So just kind of a reorganization of the county's code for that. And then the final one, which is probably the most daunting, we'll see how it goes, but to require that stormwater management ponds, you know, just big grass dugouts, be landscaped as rain gardens instead of as just big grass lawns. So that one's probably going to be a little bit harder for us to convince everybody to do, but we think that that's something very important, and we all know native plants are much better at managing stormwater than grass anyway, so all the facts are pointing in this direction. But yeah, so we submitted that back in the spring. The county commissioners looked over it and talked about it in June and determined that it would be a good thing to recommend to the planning and growth management staff. So they're going to incorporate it into their zoning code update that's going to start happening kind of next year. 2025 is going to be their main primary public outreach section. So the actual code isn't going to go into effect until 2026, but there'll be plenty of opportunities to get engaged with advocating for native plants and implementing it into our code so that it's there to stay. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, just keep an eye out. I put the county website here in case you want to explore some of the like zoning code information because that's something very niche to most people. But that's the Stay Engaged Charles County website that's pretty new and it's got all sorts of other stuff. So if you're also interested in like the climate action plan that they're going to be working on soon, information about that is there as well. So we're going to be keeping an eye on it too. And if you want to follow along with us as we do that, we can also let you know, give you a heads up on when the public information, public engagement sessions are coming. So our Instagram and Facebook are also on there. So that's my personal spiel. That was quite a bit, but hopefully we can get some success moving forwards, and hopefully just by putting this out there, people who aren't going to be thinking about native plants will start thinking about native plants. So I'm happy to serve the wild ones cause in this way, just by a little bit of side insertion in another group. All right.
And Maddie, you should get a lot of support from the planning department at Charles County. I've worked with Charles Rice quite a bit.
Yes.
And he's also the chair of the board for the Charles Soil Conservation District. And we did a lot of native plant landscaping and bioswales and rain gardens at their location off of Gardner Road, south of Waldorf. So Charles is very native plant friendly. And
we've had positive reception. Like I know a lot of the planners by name now because I keep showing up and being annoying at meetings and stuff, but a lot of them have been very receptive to what we've been doing outside of the native plant world in general, but also with this specifically. So I'm hopeful that it'll be widely well received.
Excellent.
Do you have a question for me,
John?
Yes, yeah. So there was a Garden DC podcast, August 31st. Kathy Jens hosted Sierra O'Brien, the founder of the PG County Seed Library.
Okay.
I would recommend checking out that podcast. And if you need Sierra's contact information, reach out to Kathy Jens on social media and she'll provide that with you.
What was the name of the podcast one more time?
It's called Garden DC.
Garden DC. Okay.
Yeah, Kathy Jens hosts it. And it's a weekly podcast about Mid-Atlantic gardening.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, I'll take a look at it, or a listen, I guess. But yeah, I'll see. Thank you.
Yep.
Cool. All right, that's it for me.
I just want to say I'm also inspired by your enthusiasm. So
it kind of just happens. I don't know where this stuff means a lot to me. So it's important to be involved locally. I think more than anywhere. Yeah.
And Maddie, there was a comment in the chat that you might want to contact the Wild Seed Project to see if they might be interested in donating to your seed library.
Okay, I see that now. Yeah. Let's see. Wild Seed Project. All right, I'll give them a check out as well. Thanks.
Okay. So now we're up to Wild Ones National updates. This is pretty brief, just a couple of webinars that are coming up. Tomorrow evening, there's still time to register for the Landscaping for Resilience with the Native Plant Society of Texas. Strategies for choosing resilient plants and supporting local ecosystems. Although it's based in Texas, I'm sure a lot of the information that might be presented would be applicable to our area. Maybe not the plants so much, but maybe some of the strategies. And then on Thursday, December 12th, Wild Ones is hosting Neonics and Advocacy, Protecting Pollinators and Influencing Policy with Lucas Rhodes. So there's another opportunity for a webinar, learning about the environmental impact of neonicotinoid insecticides, which is the leading cause of pollinator and wildlife declines. And then we have our featured events for our chapter. On Saturday, December 7th, we're having our first Seeds and Sags social, excuse me, at the St. Mary's Public Library in Charlotte Hall. We have an RSVP Google form. That information is out on Facebook, but I will be sending out a save the date email to all members for our upcoming events, so watch for that shortly. But we're going to have Wild Ones Chesapeake Bay logos pre-cut that you can put on any personal fabric-based item that you bring. We'll have all the materials there to apply it to your items. We'll have seeds, both cleaned and uncleaned, where we can sit around in a social atmosphere and clean seeds together. maybe some buttons and stickers, and we're thinking about a dessert potluck if you'd like to attend and bring a dessert and also bring a friend. And we're going to be at the Odenton Library on December 8th. They invited us to do a Wild Ones Chesapeake Bay table at their seed share. So we'll have an information table there with some seeds. Our first garden chat in January is going to be on Tuesday, the 28th. By request, we've had members this past year who could not make any meetings because they had Wednesday commitments. So we're going to try in 2025 to do Tuesday meetings, the fourth Tuesday of every odd month. So starting in January, we're going to do our first garden chat of the year, and the presentation that meeting will be on Seed College, where Lynn and I will both discuss different seed starting techniques for native seeds. And winter sowing is one of the workshops that I typically do in the winter months. It's a fun thing to do when we can't get out into the gardens themselves. Those are scheduled already. 2 are scheduled already. One in Leonardtown at the public library on the 18th, and then another at the Lexington Park Library on February 22nd. And if you were to scan the QR code on this slide, it would take you to the chapter calendar. And that's one place where in between meetings or in between monthly emails, you can check to see if there's anything going on in the chapter. Next slide. And that's all we have for this part of the meeting for the slide presentation. If there aren't any more questions, we'd like to go ahead and share the video that Bill has put together for all of our activities this past year. Any questions at this point? Anything in the chat that I need to address before we move on? I see some contact information has been put in the chat. Thank you, Michelle.
I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, because I'm fairly new at all this and I'm still very new in my native plant journey here, and I'm located in Calvert County. Is there does Calvert County have a seed library going like they have in other locations?
I believe the only county public libraries that have them going right now are in St. Mary's. When St. Mary's launched this year, they launched in all 3 of their branches. I am not aware of any of the branches in Charles or Calvert having them. I think PG may have them. So it's kind of, county dependent.
I
Okay,
know the
thanks.
Master Gardeners do a seed share, and then the Southern Maryland Native Plant People / Wild Ones Chesapeake Bay also do seed and plant shares. But I can talk to the Calvert County. I'm a Calvert County watershed steward, and there's a crossover with some of the Calvert County Master Gardeners. I can talk with them about setting up a seed library somewhere. I think they were going to set something up at I want to say at the Prince Frederick Library, but I'm not sure. And I also know that the Twin Beaches people were talking about it. So I'll find out what the status of that is and then get that information to Marlene.
But that's all that we have for now. John, you have a question?
Not a question so much as kudos to Bill. That was an awesome video, and I actually had to take out Shazam for one of the songs on there, so I was impressed.
Bill does a great job. And I see John asked if the garden chats are recorded. Yes, they are recorded, and they'll be on our YouTube channel. And I apologize for whatever happened with the technical capabilities as I shared the screen. someone alerted me that there were some boxes covering part of it, and I was already having computer trouble and I didn't want to try to stop and restart things. So when it goes out, we will make sure the original video gets associated with the meeting and not the recording of the meeting showing the video that had the issues with it. But no, we couldn't have done everything we've done this year without all the members. Hopefully the video showed that, tried to capture all the folks who were at our events that we could. Because again, appreciate everybody's help who's helped throughout the year, volunteering at the events. If no one has any questions, I guess we'll call it a night. Thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you for your interest in Wild Winds Chesapeake Bay, and watch your email for the upcoming save the dates, and I'll send out something when the video is available for the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you all for what you do.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Bye, Maddie.